at 5'9", it's like I had to be able
5'8",
5'8", yeah. 5'9" in my Pumas, okay? 5'8",
Right. Doctor.
With the J. Cole's on.
Yeah, with the J. Cole's on 5'9.5".
Yeah, J. Cole.
I remember when it was the 10th anniversary, when it was the 15th anniversary. So I'm just happy that, not that we made it. I don't think it's a surprise that we made it to 25. That's not how I feel. I think it's just like another anniversary because we're doing well, it's getting better and better, and it's gonna continue to grow.
I think we got great momentum from last year. You know, it's just like, it's a rejuvenation almost. Like, I'm super excited. Obviously to be a part of it, but just to be a part of it with these women, with this group. You know, I'm proud to say everything that we've been able to accomplish, you know, on and off the floor, all those efforts. I think it's just a culmination, and just using that momentum into the 25th season, I think it's gonna be really exciting.
Growing up and being a 12-year-old and the WNBA just starting and living in LA and going to the Great Western Forum and seeing Lisa play and, you know, all the visiting teams, you know, it was shocking because I would only go there to watch the Lakers, but now I'm watching, you know, the WNBA. So that to me was kind of the beginning of like, oh, I kind of like this. I kind of love basketball, and like, you know, there might be a future in basketball, but you know, 25 years in, that's you know, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think the timing of this 25th season, like Sky said, it's really interesting. You know, with what's going on in the world and, you know, where people see us now, for us to be celebrating 25 years, it's more than just 25 years, but also about kind of where that 25 years has landed us. And so kind of thinking about that legacy and being able to be a part of it and like actually be a part of the history, it's really huge. I'm really glad to be able to celebrate it with legends that are still in the game, and with more coming towards women in sports.
That was the jam, right? I need to know what playlist is this? I need to know.
This is a playlist that we did. Megan and I were doing IG Live. Yeah.
What did you just put it together? Or
No, it's like what the fuck's Republic on Spotify.
Oh.
Because I was like, what playlist is this? She was like, oh, I got it from A Touch More. I was like, oh.
Yes.
Play tomorrow. I think like the beauty of the WNBA and where it is now, it's not just about this year. Like what made us so ready and willing to step up this past summer was our past experiences. And I can think back to, you know, in 2016 when Minnesota wore their shirts first, and then it kind of went to New York and Phoenix started wearing shirts, then our whole league backed everybody. That, looking back on that, I wouldn't, disorganized is not necessarily the word, it's really the only word I can use. We weren't as organized as we were this year, but we kind of had to go through that in a way to understand, wow, when we're organized and we're all on the same page, the platform is bigger, the voice is louder. So I feel like all the things, and that's just one example, 2016 is just one example, there's other examples as well. And so when you fast forward to now or to last summer, that moment was heightened emotions, it was happening in real time. There's a lot of people, to Nneka's point, with a lot of opinions, rightfully so. The good news, by the way, is that we're all on the same page from like a value standpoint. Like we all kind of like represent the same things, want the same things, we'll fight for the same things. But there's the conversation of the how are we gonna do it? And I think what we've learned from 2016, like I said, is when we're organized with it and we're all doing the same thing, when we get to that point, it's much more powerful.
We get all of this recognition for all the work you're doing, but then it's like, oh, but you guys still don't want to invest. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but it's just kind of like, it's in right now. Even though, you know, we've been doing it for a minute, we were doing it before we even really knew what we were doing. And now that, you know, there's been a reintroduction for some people and of what the country has been like, it's really exhausting.
My thing is like, our league has for a very long time represented, I guess, the makeup of our league represents all the shit that's wrong in our country. Like it's all in one league, literally. And so the reason why, and like it's become my standard answer. I'm always like, we would have loved to have shut up and dribble. We would have loved to. 15 years ago, I would have loved to have actually 20 years ago, to come into the WNBA and not have understood there was a pressure to hey, maybe wear this, it's a little tighter because sex sells. To not have to worry about these things, where I could just play the game of basketball and be valued for that based on points, assists, rebounds, and all that. Not how I looked or what we looked like or who I dated or who I love, so on and so forth. Okay, so I jokingly, I would have loved to have shut up and dribble, but that was never allowed for us. We're always asked these questions since the beginning of the WNBA. It's always been about everything but the basketball. We've almost been forced to into this position, but now we've kind of like developed this identity about us. So I don't know, like this is who we are. Like this is fun. The irony also is like in 2000, I don't remember what year, the tagline for the WNBA was "This is who I am." And now it's like, now we're actually, this is actually who we are, you know? So it's tricky in that way because we've been living it. We're never allowed not to. And now the country has caught up to us in a way. And just in who we are, not anything that we're doing or saying, but just the makeup of what our league is.
Yeah. We want to have a little more attitude, so we were thinking maybe someone two down, like on the knee, maybe because you're the tall.
Yeah, because you were like looking at me, so I was like, you want me to do it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm good with that though.
Yeah. But maybe have you in the middle.
How do you want me to do it?
Just like down like this, yeah. So that doesn't hurt too much. But then Sky, maybe even hand.
Oh, you LA as hell right now.
I'm sorry, okay.
Stylistically, the game's changed tremendously. I just think the way it looks, the way it functions, the way we play is, night and day to when we came into the league. I think it used to be a more veteran, more physical league, where now it's probably, more young, more athletic. And I mean, these kids are doing shit that we didn't do until like 2 years ago. I mean, like, they're just so much more advanced skill-wise as far as the things that they could actually do on the court. And it's impressive to see them working at their craft.
It's like it's all evolving, and at some point, when it peaks, it'll be even better. And then the reality is, it's 12 teams and 12 roster spots. This has been the biggest game of survival of the fittest you're ever going to find anywhere in athletics. There's no more competitive league because there's not any spots. And so the good thing is that, the other part is people like us won't fucking retire. So because there's no retirement, and you just have new draft class coming in every year, it just gets more and more competitive, which is great because the product on the floor just continues to get better because it's literally only the strong survive. Only the strong are gonna get these spots. So now it's finally starting to get to that point where that evolution has really kicked in, and you can see it on the court. The product is just continuing to get better.
So I find myself now in a position I didn't necessarily expect. I always thought I was going to be playing in the league overseas, but now I find myself kind of like, maybe I don't need to go overseas as much. I can work on my game a little bit more, kind of leaning more towards kind of like the newer generation side where I grew up with vets that were like, stack your cash, go overseas, get that money, and I had that experience. But it's interesting to now see, because you got to consider too, the league is changing and basketball is changing for women all over the world. The market's not the same over there anymore. Teams are not the same over there anymore. So to kind of experience that evolution, both in my game and also in playing in the league, it's been different, but it poses a different challenge for me. I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to be able to be with people like this and get to work on my game and to just kind of add that dynamic aspect to the game as I'm also experiencing it on the court. Because Dee's right, if you don't work on something, you're out. If you don't work on something, you're either out or they're showing you the way out,
Right,
and so
right.
It's moving fast and you have to keep up with it, and you can't wait for there to be expansion. You really just, you gotta stay sharp. That's really what it is.
Toronto? Isn't that
You gotta stay sharp. The new stuff is what'll keep you on. It'll get you on the team.
Wait,
but the
the
old
new-
stuff is what'll get you some rings.
The new stuff doesn't mean shit if you don't know the old stuff.
Yeah.
That's the one.
No,
That's the clip right there, kid.
You gotta have the foundation.
Yeah,
You have to have the foundation.
You can play against a cone all you want, because the cone doesn't bite back. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen a championship team that didn't have fundamental foundation,
Yeah,
of some kind.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So That's just plain and simple.
Look, they are athletic as hell. I mean, the way they putting a dunk in the ball, the finishes, the veer steps, you know, just, it's so creative. Like, I'm seeing stuff I never seen before consistently. And just, I mean, the skill level, the handle, you know, the one-on-one skill, it's just amazing how athletic. I mean, golly.
I like the gall, to be honest. The gall and the fearlessness.
That's a good one.
Because, I mean, I feel like when I first came into the league, they were like, oh, she's a rookie. But now it's not really so much that. And I mean, like, you can say, like, yeah, they're a rookie, but like, these kids are coming in like.
Expecting.
Yeah, they're like,
in a good way.
check.
They expect.
You know,
I mean, you think somebody like Kennedy Carter, like Kennedy,
like, they don't
you
care.
got Enrique, like you
they
have
don't
to
care.
get.
They're like, I'm
even though
about to
they're
hoop.
rookies.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's really great.
What excites me about some of like the college players, even like some high school players, they have like legit followings that we didn't have. Well, first of all, social media obviously changes everything, but like these followings, and the thing that I think is exciting about it is they're gonna just continue to build that. And so when they do get to the WNBA, they're gonna take that with them. And so the 22-year-old guy who's now following, you know, X, Y, and Z player, whether they're in high school or college, when they're like the decision maker, they're the one out in the world talking about women's professional basketball, it'll be a different like storyline. Because now it's always like, oh, I could beat them one-on-one. That's usually what we get. But these guys will have grown up with these players. And so that following to me is like really, it's gonna be really cool to watch that also evolve and when they take that with them to the professional ranks.
The exposure is crazy.
Yeah.
It's like the exposure is insane.
Yeah, like Paige was a high school kid, Paige Beckers, on the front of Slam. That didn't happen. Shamiko was like the only person ever at that point, you know? And that changes like narratives, that changes things. So I think that's pretty dope.
Then look, you got the goal. You got the goal. All right, we gotta do something.
I know.
Hey, if you know, you know. Okay, you know yourself. Go ahead, do whatever.
No, because my teammates make fun of me when I do that.
No, I think we've been able to achieve, you know, our success in, you know, our own ways, because we've really dedicated our lives to playing basketball. And you know, I know as a league we do a lot, but like at the core of that, it's because we love to play basketball. Like that is the one thing that we've always been very true to, and I think people are starting to understand, you know, just because the paycheck doesn't add up with, you know, with the NBA or certain sports, like this is our life. Like this is what we love to do. You know, whether you've been in the league for, you know, Sue and I for, it seems like forever, you know, Skylar and Nneka going into their prime or a rookie, like this is what we love to do.
So for me personally, and maybe a little bit for D too, because we're in the similar age group, it's like, I do realize that 25 years from now, when people look back on the league, they're gonna think of our names with like the early years. Because I came into the league, I think, in its 5th year. That's pretty early. I don't feel like a pioneer. I don't feel like the Cheryl Swoops and the Lisa Leslies and the Rebecca Lobos, like the first to sign the contract. But I know years from now, we'll be kind of in that group. So it's interesting because a part of me feels lucky to be part of the start and to have helped it grow along the way, but also we're still playing, so we're kind of still part of this younger generation too. But at the same time, for me personally, everything I do now is definitely about younger generations and like not leaving the game of basketball, but leaving like the business of the WNBA, if you will, like in a better place so it can like continue to grow.
And I was 7 years old when the league started. So like that was my first time not only seeing women play on TV, but women that look like me playing and being on a stage like that. And I was that little girl, so to see it come full circle, to see how, you know, younger girls respond to us and how they're taken to our game, they want to be like us. Even guys too, younger people just watching and paying attention to our game, wanting to be like us. Just having that in mind, that full circle moment, you know, you kind of have to step away from that to see that whole scope of what that means. But anyway, it's inspiring to be a part of, and just to be able to say, okay, I'm a direct reflection of you, that the kids that you see now watching the game. I was that girl wanting to be a part of the WNBA, so I think it's dope to have those full circle moments.
At year 50? Wow. Well, I would like to be on my couch
Paint the picture
in
for us.
November, and instead of putting on the Lakers, I like to put on the Mercury.
Ooh, I see what you did there. You said November?
In November, you get that?
November.
I like that.
30
Well,
teams.
I mean, you said 30 teams?
Yeah.
For me, like, I always say this, I don't really put a timeline on it. The only timeline I put on is that I'm gonna be alive when this happens. I want to see the first $1 million contract be signed. Like, I'm gonna be alive for that. That's not even, that's gonna happen. Based on just
No,
me
that's
putting
the
out
same
there.
You
thing.
gonna be the
Yeah.
commissioner, Nick?
Yeah, she might be commissioner.
She'll be
Let's
signing
You'll
it.
be putting
You'll be
it,
the one.
you'll be putting
Manifest
the first
that.
contract in front of the player.
Manifest that.
That's what I always joke. I'm like, sometimes I say this
Just trying to go to
jokingly.
sleep and get this
You know, you tune
workout
into
tomorrow.
like, yeah, it's gonna be, you know, like you hear like an older NBA player like, I didn't make that money. Like they're like the disgruntled older player. I'm always like, I hope that's me.
Yeah.
I hope I'm somewhere on my couch watching a game and I'm like, I didn't make $1 million
In November?
in November.
You might be Kenny Smith. I might be Charles Barkley.
Have you seen my knee?
I want to
Have you seen my knee?
Ah, that's true.
My knee is getting there. My knee is getting
Don't
to Kenny
say
Smith
that.
level.
Kenny runs the screens
But
tough.
seriously,
Oh man, I worry about him all the time.
my knee's getting there.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
We're all gonna be alive when that
Yeah,
happens.
jokingly, like I want to see $1 million contract, and I want to be like, dang, we didn't get to have that. But simultaneously, the four of us, we will have played a part.
I mean, you can say
in
like,
that contract.
we did that.
Yeah.
Like, I get a cut of that.
Exactly.
I'm be telling my son when your mama was 5 years ago, then like when your mama was something.
Okay.